now we're going to discuss the approach to a framework question for an academic student. So your framework question approach. First of all, the framework can be applied to every part of your syllabus. Every part of the accounting standards will or can be referred back to the framework. Now, the specific framework question will ask you to discuss in terms of the framework 9 out of 10 times. The rather odd question where you need to read through the detail and you'll realize that there's no other standards applicable, then you would have to go back to the framework intuitively. The next thing is you will probably not be sure of the answer in your exam because the questions are going to be tough. Please stay calm, read the question, and stick to the question approach that we are giving you. Just remember that the majority of the marks are for the correct approach, not for the correct conclusion or outcome. So, the framework question approach. Look for keywords in the required. Are you looking to prove or disprove an asset or a liability or both? Now, the general story here is that somewhere in the question, management or the accountant will have recognized an asset, okay, that maybe should not have been recognized, or alternatively there will be some type of event that would give rise to an obligation, but management is trying not to recognize the liability and the obligation. So check the number of marks at a CTA or honors level. If it's 5 to 8 marks, keep to the basics, and you're probably only dealing with one asset or one liability. If there are 8 to 15 marks per the required, there will definitely be another complexity, something either outside of the framework, or alternatively there will be 2 assets or an asset and a liability or 2 liabilities. Please write neatly, short, brief points in full English, but just don't use adjectives, don't write an essay for 1 mark, okay, in valid English, okay. Please, every time you write 1 point per paragraph, you skip 1 or possibly even 2 lines before you start the next point. You want to be the favorite person that the marker's got to mark because your handwriting's neat. You put 1 point per paragraph and you've spaced between each point. So the thought process. Let's get writing. First of all, state the issue at hand. Often there is a mark purely for stating the issue at the hand. What does that statement mean? It means that transaction XYZ has been recorded as an asset. Should this have been recorded, first of all, doesn't meet the definition and then doesn't meet the recognition criteria for an asset. State the issue. Then apply the facts to the framework definitions. So actually write out definition of an asset. Point 1, resource controlled by the entity. Apply the facts to that point, okay, or to that subheading. Past event. Apply the facts to the past event. Third point, future economic benefits expected to flow to the entity. Apply the facts from the question to that subheading. Now that's usually 3 to 5 marks for the application, mind you. Sometimes they are quite kind and give you half a mark per each of the subheadings. Don't ever take the chance of ignoring the application. Then discuss each part of the definition individually. Remember to do that. Apply the facts then to the recognition criteria. So a new heading, recognition criteria. Subheading 1, probable future economic benefits. Discuss the facts given to you to that subheading. Subheading 2, second recognition criteria. There must be a value or cost that can be reliably measured and estimated. Apply the facts. Another 2 to 3 marks usually there. Then you will conclude based on the application of the definition and the recognition criteria. Do I mind if you get this 100% right or wrong? No. What I do mind is if you put the conclusion first. Always put it last. You can see at the most that conclusion is 1 to 2 marks. Just remember, if there is an income or expenses issue as well, remember that we prove a expense by disproving the other debit, the asset. Okay? So if it's not an asset, in terms of your discussion, definition and recognition criteria, then that debit must be an expense. And the same can be said for credits. First, try and discuss a liability for that credit. If it is not a liability, okay, because either it doesn't meet the definition of a liability or the recognition criteria are not met, then possibly it could be the other credit, an income. Great. So follow this framework and this thought process, okay, and remember the headings, okay, and your headings are going to give you the guidance to get through a framework discussion question. There's no excuse ever to fail a framework discussion question if you follow this approach. Please now, you need to do our tutorial, and that tutorial gives you the practical application of this. The tutorial I'm referring to here is Framework 101, the question on Egoli Limited. Thank you.